Welcome back, everybody, for more Masters recap coverage here at the Fairway Feed. Today, we're going to be going over the biggest takeaways that came out of round 2, so please sit back and enjoy the coverage. This was the deciding round for many of the players in the field to dictate whether they would go on to play the weekend and make the cut line, and that included players like Koepka, Fleetwood, Schauffele, and even past green jacket winner Jon Rahm, who were all above par going into round 2. Let's circle back for a moment on a player that we touched upon yesterday, and that's Nick Dunlap. Now, it's no surprise that he had a very rough opening round where he carded a 90, which was 18 over par in the opening round of the tournament. But credit where credit is due, Nick did not withdraw from the tournament by faking an injury. He ended up teeing off for that second round, and it's a good thing that he did, because he would shoot a night and day difference with a 71, which was 1 under par in the second round. This speaks more to the tenacity of Nick, who wouldn't allow himself to quit, and before the second round, he actually had fellow players coming up with words of encouragement and embracing him, telling him not to give up. Nick was fully aware of his position, and he even admitted that he had never had a bigger knot in his stomach before a round of golf than this second round. He would end up going on to miss the cut at 17 over par, but in the process, he proved to himself that he still has the ability to keep up with the other players in the field, and he surely gained a lot of new fans and respect from players alike. Before the start of the tournament this year, Bernard Langer announced that this would be his last Masters outing at 67 years old. He ended up battling his way right until the very end, but he just fell short of that cut line at 3 over par. It would have been great to see him play the weekend for one last time, but it just wasn't meant to be. The legend would walk off the course with thunderous rounds of applause and encouragement, and we all wish him the best on the Champions Tour, where he continues to have success. Freddie Couples would also fall short of his goal to make it to the weekend, making that cut, but he would beat out players such as Koepka, Finau, and even Cam Smith. So if anything, he proved to himself that he still has that ability to keep up with the younger generation of golfers. There was also a lot of noise being made for fan favorite Bryson DeChambeau, who wasn't being given much airtime for the live coverage. He ended up shooting an excellent 68 in the second round, and yet he wasn't really on a lot of the footage until the end of the day. He'll end up being paired with leader Justin Rose going into round 3, so we should anticipate a lot more coverage of him in the third round of the tournament. The players that started off the opening round strong continue to do so, and that's with Justin Rose, who continues to hold the lead at 8 under par, and Scottie Scheffler, who continues to be right at the top of the leaderboard. Fellow Ryder Cup players Tyrrell Hatton and Viktor Hovland also made a strong showing in the second round and continued to push their way up to the top of the leaderboards to be in contention heading into the weekend. But the biggest story to come out of round 2 continued to be Rory McIlroy. After he kind of stumbled at the end of the opening round to shoot even par and be 7 shots behind the leader Justin Rose, he would need a remarkable second round showing to even be in contention heading into the weekend. And well, that's exactly what he ended up doing. He would shoot a remarkable 66 with 4 birdies on the day and even an eagle on the par 5 13th hole. We briefly touched on yesterday how Rory continues to be his own worst enemy at the Masters outings, and that's because he has his mental game fall apart whenever he ends up carding a 7 or an 8. But this year looks to be a little bit different. Rory continues to push his way through, and he's got a lot to show for it. From being at even par to now in 3rd place heading into the 3rd round of the tournament, Rory might just have what it takes to end up winning his first green jacket and completing that elusive career Grand Slam. We are in for some exciting golf at Augusta National Golf Club this weekend, everybody. So until tomorrow's recap for round 3, hit them straight and keep them in the fairway and enjoy the Masters tournament.